Alright guys, now we've worked out our maintenance, it's time to work out our calorie deficit. Now the deficit is the amount of calories under your maintenance that you need to eat or that you've decided you need to eat for weight loss, okay? So, you've got three options. You've got your small deficit, which is 10 to 15% of total calories. You've got your medium, which is 20 to 25%, and you've got your large, which is 25 plus. Now, I'm not really going to talk about large today to too much of a degree, because in my opinion, large is getting pretty excessive. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the first two. Now, when it comes to losing weight and losing fat in general, what we want to do is we want to keep as much muscle while we're doing it and only lose the fat. So you're going to be better with the first two options anyway, because you're going to have more food coming in and higher protein, and therefore you're going to hold on to your muscle. As soon as you start going into a big deficit, you're going to be more likely to use your muscle as energy. So your first one, now what we've done today is we've used 2,000 calories for females and then 2,700 for males as their maintenance calories. Okay, so in the small, we've got the small deficit for females. It's about 200 to 300 calories, which is going to be about 0.5 pounds per week of fat loss. All right, for males, it's 270 to 405 calories deficit per day, which is going to equate to 0.5 to 0.8 per week, okay, pounds per week. So you can see that that's actually really good, all right? Now, what I try to do is at least give a little bit faster of results in the first couple of weeks and then start to slow it down. Reason I do that is because it helps kind of the mental state with a lot of my clients. They feel better knowing that the scales are going down or the measurements are going down. So what I do is I start with a medium and then transition to small, okay? So for females, your total deficit is going to be 400 to 500 calories, and then that's going to equate to about 0.8 to 1 pound lost per week. Okay, for males, it's about 540 to 675 calories, and that's going to be about 1 pound to 1.3 pounds per week lost. So what I do is I start them off on the medium for the first couple of weeks, let them see the results, and then they go down to small, okay, where it's about 10 to 15%. Now, realistically, I don't have to really change anything on that, because what happens is, once they have lost a couple of pounds, their maintenance calories is obviously going to be lower, and so therefore they're going to be in less of a deficit. I have created one of those videos, so I'll try and link it below for you to kind of understand that principle. But basically, the deficit is going to be smaller, so they might only need, for a male, instead of 2,700, they might only need 2,500. And so obviously the deficit is going to start to look like the small deficit, alright? So again, what I want everyone to do is, once they've worked out their maintenance calories and once they've worked out their deficit, every couple of weeks go back and kind of measure that and change it, because it will change as your weight changes and your deficit is going to be totally different, okay? So I normally, after a couple of weeks, keep them on a smaller deficit, and then we maintain that for a long time until they get the results they need. Generally, with new clients, new people to the gym that haven't really trained before, you can actually see some really good results on the smaller deficit, gaining muscle mass and even increasing strength. For the more advanced lifter who's been doing it a long time, generally it is a little bit harder to see muscle gain on the smaller or medium deficit, but with a high protein diet, you're not going to necessarily lose any muscle, and that's why we choose the smaller one in the after those first couple of weeks, because you're going to see those first responses from the body, but you're not going to lose any muscle if your protein is high enough and you're doing your weight training in there as well to stimulate muscle growth. You won't, as I say, with it being in a calorie deficit, it's going to be unlikely or very hard to actually gain muscle. But what we want to do is we want to keep as much as we've got, okay, and just decrease the fat. Again, that's pretty hard to do, but by having a smaller deficit, it's a little bit easier. Alright, you still got that energy to train and your protein's high enough. So that's working out and calculating your deficit, guys. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I can clear them up. Otherwise, that's the video for today. Hope it was helpful. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.